I'm live. Hello. Hi, everybody. I am so sorry I've had some technical difficulties. But if you're watching my station or watching my channel and you're sort of refreshing your page, I'm back on. So thank you so much for your patience. I hope you can hear me. I was having some microphone difficulties earlier. So let me know if you come on and you can't hear me. I might just get rid of my microphone and speak off the microphone from my camera. So let me know if you're here. It's Live with Georgia. You can hear me? Wonderful. I had to restart my computer. It happens. And it feels like New York City has had a restart itself. It's been celebrating, and it's really hard not to get swept up in the emotions and of the elections today. But welcome to Live with Georgia. Hello. I have two big announcements to make. I'm so excited to share these news because last week was such a great success. Everybody loved the Spirit Seance, and of course it was Halloween, so there was extra fun in the fact that it was a major holiday and we all got dressed up. But I thought that it'd be a really good idea to continue a Spirit message circle. And so what I'm going to do is keep your ears and eyes on your inbox. And if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, please subscribe. I have the details in the description below. I'm going to have a monthly, end of the month likely, Spirit message circle called Spirit Seance or something else. I'm kind of imagining names for this at the moment. And I'll be inviting friends on, special, talented, very gifted friends on. And I'll be limiting it to about 10 people. And it will be $10 and we'll come in on a private Zoom. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of have this really wonderful, sort of very nurturing circle where everybody's going guaranteed message. I just loved the fact that people loved the ideas of getting a message from Spirit. And obviously Liz Dooley, Karen Wellen, who you met last week, they loved participating and obviously very naturally gifted in being able to bring through messages from Spirit. Rebecca, hello. Charlie Girl, hi. Marlene, hello. Charlie Girl's asking, how do we subscribe to your newsletter? So on my website, you go to the contact page. So it's georgiamarantos.com, marantos.com/contact. So if you go to the contact page, you put in your details. You just need to put in your name and your email address, I think. I think so. And there's a section for a message, but don't worry about it. And there's also a little dot where you press yes or no to subscribe to the newsletter. And then you click send. Deb, thank you so much. Welcome back. Hi. I haven't seen Deb in a while. Hello. Wonderful. So Anna, hello. Thank you. I know I had microphone difficulties before, and I think it's always the computer that's not quite sort of set up right whenever I've had these difficulties. So we're on track. Woohoo. Jenny, hello. Lorelei, hello. This is wonderful. Jenny, I was watching August 1st. There were issues on that too. That's too funny. I think I had the same kind of microphone issues not that long ago. So August, meaning literally like, what is it, 8 to 10, 3 months ago. Yeah, and it's interesting because, it's a bit of a reset, so having to, I've got the computer on a lot of the time, on all the time. And I'm thinking now that this is very much like in life, sometimes we need a reset. So this is leading me to my next announcement, which is that Derek O'Neill is teaching everyone how to meditate. Anybody who wants to join his meditation course, which starts tomorrow and goes for 10 weeks. And I just want to let everybody know that this is an amazing opportunity. If you've ever wanted to meditate, if you are meditating and want to sort of boost your meditation, if you want to go up a notch in your sort of spiritual know-how or juju, or you just want to kind of really, really, really work and learn with a master, then get yourself on this course. It is starting tomorrow. It is at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 5:30 p.m. Dublin time. And obviously, you can search up your time zone wherever you are in the world. I've got there's some people in Australia who are coming on. I'm very excited. It's 4:30 a.m. in the morning when the class is on in Dublin, and it's 4:30 a.m. in Australia. So if these people are committed to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to do a meditation class with Derek, so can you be. So get on. It's €150, and I'm so excited. There's so much excitement for the course because he's never offered to teach meditation before, and for those of us who've been his students for a very long time, meditation has been kind of part of our language, right? I mean, we talk about meditating, we talk about sitting, and that this is the first time he's offering to really teach meditation from a sort of ground. And this is where I was talking about before. It's kind of like it's going to be a big reset. That's what it feels like to me. It's like, well, you thought you could meditate. Actually, let's just go back down to the nuts and bolts of how do we sort of get the foundation right of meditation? How do we do? At least that's what I really don't know, because I'm not part of the creation of the course. I'm tapping into it, and it just feels like it's going to be very thorough and very helpful to anyone who wants to learn how to meditate. So that's the big shout out and second announcement. So keep your eyes peeled on my newsletters, and obviously on social media, I'll let people know about the Seance Spirit Seance group, and Derek O'Neill's meditation tomorrow. Still time to register, so get on DerekO'Neill.com. If somebody can put the link up for the MailChimp, or I think I have it somewhere. So if we get a little dull moment, Deborah says she's just PayPal'd. Yay! We've got a question. I'm so excited. You know, someone asked me a question about how to get a clear question. How do you, and Lorelei, oh, you're so awesome. Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Lorelei. How's your beautiful kitty that you've just had? You've got a new member in your family. I want to hear all about her or him. Lorelei. So Deb and Lorelei. Wonderful. Yay. Thanks, Charlie girl. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Wonderful. I'm so glad you're here, Jenny. Yeah, I've been all over the place. The energy has been really quite extraordinary because, you know, I don't watch the news, and I only found out that that there was an end to the presidential sort of voting count by hearing all the trash cans clanging and everybody, the pots and pans are being hit. And it's like, where is this noise coming from? And in fact, it sounded exactly like the sound we used to make every 7 p.m. around the time of, COVID, during that lockdown period where we were making noise and clapping for the first responders. It was exactly the same sounds. And so it was interesting that the two, so, one was a thank you, and the other has been a celebration of the news. But it's interesting how the community has come together in this way. It's like it's become the sound we make for sort of communal communication. It just feels like if I was to stay here, every time I hear that, or this is how I would join in to create that sound. Oh, Jenny, thank you so much. I'll stop waffling now. I remember I used to do lives with my friend Stephanie. We were the Aussie Tarot twins, and we haven't done some in a while because we've both been busy. But she'd be like, you can stop waffling now, Georgia. Time for a reading. A little snapshot. I'm giving away 30-minute reading with me. And we're also studying the Justice card, which is very, very interesting. It is a little bit about what you think it might be, and then it's also a lot about something else. So the Justice card is one of those major arcana that you really kind of need to study into, because it's a very quiet card, a bit like the Hermit, the number 9 Hermit card, whereas the Wheel of Fortune's noisy, as is the Chariot. So as we've been studying them together, I hope anyone who's got their tarot cards out tonight is going to be coming along. Maybe we could do an exercise if we get time. I want to do this really interesting exercise where someone asks a question, and this would be, you don't have to pay to ask this question, but someone asks a question with an answer that they already know. And then those of us who are studying the tarot and studying sort of tapping into our intuition, see if they can tap into the answer. Would that be fun? I'm hoping yes is the answer, because I really want to do it. I want to see how it goes with this group, right? I want to see how it sort of melts together and what kind of messages we get and how we got them. Did we use the tarot? Did we tap in internally, right? It would be fun. Cool. And these are the kind of exercises we're going to be doing in my November tarot play shop, which is coming up in 1 week. Can you believe it? It's already here. And so if you missed out in November, there will be one in March. So don't worry. I'll be picking one up. And then we'll be doing the same things, maybe adding some extra depending on who's there. Marlene says, I want to know where I am at in my tarot reading skills. Awesome. Awesome. Cool, right? It's good to know. Okay, thank you to everybody. Deb, I'm going to tap into you first. So anyone who wants to tap in, had a few cards popping out, but none of them felt like they needed to be talked about. So Deb, do you have a question or is it just a general? Just a general? All right, so I'm going to pick, and then if I see you make a comment, I'll just a general. Awesome. Okay. For Deb, here we go. The Tower. So, you know, for a general reading, the Tower is kind of like very specific, and nobody wants to see the Tower card. The 3 cards nobody wants to see in the whole of the tarot deck are the Tower card, the Death card, and the Devil card. The Tower, Devil, and Death, right? And why do we not want to see this? Well, just in our day-to-day business, nobody wants to see people falling out of a tower with the burning windows and this dramatic clouds and this massive lightning strike. She's laughing. I'm so glad you're laughing. But when you're on the spiritual path, right, this card, what this card means is enlightenment, right? So where you thought it was you that was driving the chariot, God, right, the universe has come through to say, hey, just in case you forgot, temporarily forgot, this is going to happen, and I'm just going to remind you that I drive the chariot, right? It's your chariot, and you're at the helm, but I'm the one driving it. So then you have to kind of make some sense out of how is that possible, right? And obviously you've done all of your spiritual homework, and you've had a lot of, and this is now you, Deb, right? So you know what this card is about, because we don't need to talk about it very long. It's almost like everything you thought that was on your ground. And let's just tell it like it is. There has been, at every sort of presidential election, there's going to be, certainly at the last one in 2016, there was a crack in the foundation, a change in the foundation. Things are changing up. We're in these periods with COVID that's still ongoing, right? That is now coming back and making a second wave over America. This foundation is changing. Our capacity and what we do on a day-to-day level for 2020 and beyond is changing. We are changing as a human being, as a population, as a society, as a global society. You know, there's so much that's changing. And I feel that you're doing this on a personal level as it's happening on a global level, or as, you know, as in a community and a further out level. So I hope you're still laughing, because we're still going. So what I see here is, as you can see, these people are wearing blue gowns. Both of them are wearing blue gowns. So you'd think it's like, okay, the king and the queen at the top of their perch, but actually it doesn't feel like that's who it is. So this is, blue means trust. It means sort of hardworking. It's almost like everything that you thought that you could rely on, or that was kind of like solid in some ways, has gone. And the only thing that you are allowed to rely on, is this lightning bolt that's coming through down into the system. Now, this is like the Kundalini, and I've talked about this lightning bolt being like a Kundalini. It's a spiritual awakening card. And what we've got is, so I just noticed that there's a message retracted from Charlie Girl. But if you're picking any cards up, these are yods. I've talked about these before, and this is the energy of God basically, and that's being shed as this big crack opens. Right, this whole opening is happening, and everything that you thought was real is not real. Everything that you had trusted to be, one way is not that way, and so everything is shook. Everything is upside down. And what's burning? What is this really burning? Is this really destruction? Well, not really, because when you're on fire, there's passion. And when, fire clears everything out. So not only are you a clear channel, you shared thank you so much. I so appreciate that, Charlie. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing the channel. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking the videos. Awesome. And can you see this one tree at the bottom? I've never noticed this tree before, Deb. Actually, it's not a tree, but it looks like a tree. So this is Pamela Coleman Smith's signature. I'm going to show it to you. And it's on almost all of the cards. Hang on, I've got to get out of the picture completely. Sorry, I just want to show you the details on this card. If you have this card, pull it out. There it is. See it down the bottom? That's Pamela Coleman Smith's signature, right? That's her signature. It looks like a tree. Now, why would a tree be interesting? Because it's still left standing, right? So when something is still left standing, it's almost like where you think, obviously, you're still alive, right? So when we go out into the 5D, or once we have our spiritual awakening, some people leave the body. Some people have left the body when they wake up to who they are, but you're in your body, right? And I feel that's what this tree is talking about. You're grounding this spiritual awakening in your body, right? As your body is, whether it can hold this amount of energy or not, it almost doesn't matter. The fact is that you are in your body holding this amount of energy, walking the earth. You are still alive. You are still here with us, right? And the other thing, of course, is that it also looks like a snake, right? And so the snake and the Kundalini again comes back in. So it's been like a Kundalini awakening that's not dramatic, because I feel like it's a very quiet sort of space, this opening. So this is a very highly spiritual card. As a general reading, it's for a spiritual seeker, it's a really good card to get, because it means that you are finally in God's will. So it's finally in the divine will. Finally, every step I take is the step that God takes. Every decision I make is the decision that God is making. And so this is where what we aspire to, even though, where is it? It's number 16. So it's kind of like when you think about all of the cards that have come before it, you've had some experiences, you've experienced some transformation. And in fact, just before it is the devil. So when we come to the cards that are later tonight, we're doing number 11. But as we go through them, you'll see that this card comes after a culmination of big energy. And you've been through a lot before this card comes. And that's what happens. It's once you've walked the dark night of the soul. The tower is not built on stable ground either. No. So that's why it has to come down. In terms of the story of, this is the traditional story of the Tower of Babel in the Bible, where and I think I've spoken about this before, where the people of the city believed that they could sort of reach the heavens. And it has to do a lot with ego and the egoic structure, and how we believe that we can be better than others and how we can tower over others. Well, this isn't necessarily what I was getting for you, even though this is what the card talks about. I mean, every card is steeped with so much sort of mythology and symbolism. And when I'm looking at a card and I'm reading the card, I'm tapping into what hits me first, because what hits me first, I believe, is what I'm picking up on by using my inner senses. But that's really important, what you just said, that the tower is not built on stable ground either. And that's why it's coming down, right? Because all that you thought was right, or that you were trusting, or that you were relying on, is not the thing to rely on. And what you're now doing is you're creating a whole new ground, just like a lot of people will be now with the elections finally sort of tied up, COVID continues. How do you bring your life back into some kind of balance? Is there going to be more? We don't really know, right? Marlene, thank you so much. Okay, I'll put you on my list. I'm going a little slowly. I should hurry up a little. I just wanted to pull another card for you, Deb. I know I say one question, but here we go. So these two cards go very well together. Now, why did I pick another card? I just wanted to see what this meant moving forward. Look at the clarity around these wands. It's a very clear sky. There's the tall mountain. This looks like Arunachala, the energy of Shiva. You've got beautiful water. There's greenery. It's obviously quite a beautiful landscape and, countryscape. And so all is well. And this is a card of karma, right? So this is a karmic event, you and your life, this lifetime, that has created this incredible opening, this incredibly, this spiritual awakening, right? And here, this is not only does it indicate, yes, this is a karmic event, and the fact that it's a tower means that it's going on for years, not just months or weeks, right? So it has probably already gone on for years, if not many months, and it's coming to an end. Why? Because these wands are pointing down, right? They're not pointing up. So it's almost like the energy of the change that this has created is shifting and shaking. And what you're doing is you're grounding all of this information. You're grounding the experience. You're grounding the understanding. You're grounding the walking with divine will and being that example for others and saying, okay, this is the way I am going to be for the rest of my life because there is no better way to be. Oh, wonderful. Anna, thank you. So let's see. I'm going to pull one more card. What can you expect in the future was my next question. What you can expect in the future is, look at this. Look at this holy ghost and this offering, and into the cup it's diving, and this emotional. And not only that, but it's one of the cards. All the aces have these yods, right? And where else are the yods? In the tower, right? So what are you rushing to? You're rushing to this heart opening and this overflowing heart, which when people meet, they feel, right? In your presence, they're going to feel the energy of awakening. And that's being in service. That is in service. And so wherever we are, if we are connected to the divine, we become this. We become an overflowing cup from which other people drink. So, Deb, we started off with, explaining the Tower card, but really this is your life. This is your spiritual path, and you're continuing to walk. And everyone who meets you is gifted with this overflowing divine essence coming through you. Thank you. Lorelei. All right. Lorelei, do you have a question? I think you do. PayPaling you now for a random pull. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to shake the cards up. Oh, they're falling out. Lorelei, the cards want to say something specific. They're all falling out. There were too many of them for me to pull on them, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask them to. Here we go. They did. The ones that fell out want to come out. Wow. Look at these two. So you're experiencing this shift, okay? So the energy that the Five of Wands creates is there's a challenge, but actually, what these guys are doing is they're kind of moving. A lot of these wands are horizontal. They're almost horizontal. And this sense of movement, it's almost like there's an inner landscape. Remember, we studied the Strength card, and it was about going in successfully because of the wreath around her waist and the one on her head, and understanding that all is well, as above, so below, and that we do things in cycles, don't we? And that we experience things in our life in cycles, so that when something comes around back again for us to be seen, we see it in a deeper and more beautiful way. And I really feel that that's what's happening right now for you. I feel that on the inside, you have a change going on in your sort of your emotional, psychological, spiritual substrate. And this change is creating this connection for you to be able to tame the wildness inside. Whereas previously we could go into reaction, or we could go into, I mean, we all want to pray for this card, right? We want to pray for this card for the world to be less filled with drama and less divisive, less split, right? So here what we're doing is we're going in to ourselves, and we're creating that understanding that everything comes from within. And if I have an understanding of how I work, and this is why there's a lot of shifting going on inside you, maybe in your environment too, but I feel this is happening inside, and it's hopeful. See this guy? Sometimes when you look at a card that has a lot of different people in it, you get caught up by one of the faces. And I'm attracted to this guy who's looking up, right? So there's the sense that here is spirit bringing through this information for me. You're connected. I know we've had readings before, Lorelei, and you know that you're connecting with spirit very powerfully with all of your spiritual practices. Just know that whatever's happening right now is happening for your highest good. And that this strength card, which was kind of popping out and wanted to be seen, is you wearing your spiritual teachings, spiritual knowledge, your spiritual understanding, and using those tools to tame all those programs that we have. I'd love to get this card. And in fact, this reminds me to put it on my fridge. Just that sense of, it's a reminder to just understand that the work that we're doing is an inner work, so that we can have a better daily life, so that when things come our way, that we don't project an old idea or an old conditioning or an old program onto what's in front of us. But in fact, we stay open and interested in what's happening. Oh, this is happening. This is interesting. Wow, I used to act like that. Do I want to go there? Where did going there used to take me? Do I want to go there? So this is this general message that you're getting right here, which feels very, very tangible. Yes, lots of internal changes, says Lorelei. Wonderful. Fran, hello. Deborah says, so this is coming back to Deborah's reading. Thank you, love. Brooke said exactly same to me while in Egypt, almost verbatim. Way to compliment her message from 3 years ago. And we said years, right? The 3 years have been shocking, to say the least. So definitely appreciate your reading. We can have a look at timing if we have some time. I can just pull those two cards out again, the sense of the Tower and those 8 of Wands, because it feels like it's really quickening up. Where it took a long time, there was quickening. But back to Lorelei, what I've got here is another card. Does it feel lots of internal? Does it feel really hard? Thank you for putting your question in. Thank you so much. The more specific the question, the more specific the answer. But somehow we find specifics too, don't we, right? I find that a general reading will pull me into the spiritual, as in to give an overall view of what this spirit, what this soul is experiencing in a body. And the specific will take me down to the sort of day-to-day gritty detail. And that's what it would do for you too, right? So here is this guy looking like he's been through the wars, and maybe these two are associated, but I really feel like if you keep your observer in that, number one, observership role, i.e. that, as stuff is happening, you can sense and recognize that you're having emotional sort of tugs, and this might be at work, or it might be just out and about the place, or in your own space and home. So as you're feeling these pulls, you become curious as to why they're there. Oh, that's why it's there. And recognize that you have a choice. And if it's already happened, which is how it happens for most of us, right? It's already happened, and then we're discovering it and thinking about it. Well, then we just do our best to get it next time, because it always comes around to visit, and a program just runs on a program. So this guy, I'm just going to have a look at this guy. So you see these mountains, they're actually quite high. So they feel a little bit far away and a little unattainable. How does one get there, right? How do we get there? This feels like a meditation. I know you're about to do so. A number of people right on this call have already logged on to do the meditation course with Derek O'Neill. And I know that this is what this is referring to. This, to me, is a number 4 card, right? And just like the number 4 of swords, which is a meditation card, I feel this is a meditation card because he's grounding the not only is he balancing the head and the heart, but he's also grounding the energies that are coming through here. So this tends to be a sort of a shrinking, but actually it's not. This card is a pulling your energy in and grounding it. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this. So what's going to help you, right, with the inner movement that's going on, it's not turmoil. It's just the stuff's happening. As that comes, what you're going to do is you're going to ground it. And this meditation technique that you're going to learn tomorrow with Derek O'Neill, this 10-week course, is really going to help, right? It's almost like it's going to come in and it's going to burn like the tower card where the lightning struck and the fire burnt through and it cleared the energy. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get that clearing coming through. That's the energy of the meditation. And see those 3 pyramids. So we know that this meditation has a very strong lineage and it's coming from, a very grounded and very high place. I don't know if it's come from Egypt, actually. I don't know where it's come from. It has a very special name. You're excited for that? That's awesome. The challenges are more physical with regard to work. It's interesting that work came first to my, So be careful. Okay, so here is this card, the 7 of Swords. Be careful of how you start to think about work, right? So here is this, here are the Swords. So there's 2 things that you can take care of in terms of keeping your physical body healthy and well whilst at work. And then there are a whole bunch of other thoughts that might be an old program coming in. So just to kind of just to kind of go back to what we were saying with the other cards, these thoughts are not helpful to you. So if you see yourself thinking a particular way about, being at work or being there with your boss or being there with other people or, what you are being asked to do, or are you having to do more than what your job description is asking for, etc. Be careful of going into any of those old patterns. And so this card is like a bit of a warning. And what these 2 swords are is that there is a little bit, there's something you can do to help your physical body, right? Here's another card. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. I'm just laughing because it's like, why do we need reminders? We do need reminders. Sometimes you forget when you're working so hard and you're just going through your routine, you forget to put in that extra softness, right? And that's what this is. Be soft with yourself. Be kind to your body and rest it up. Rest it up sometime. Spend some time near water. I know that she's in the grass, but I was attracted to the blue here. So see if you can get yourself to a body of water or be in water or just have a bath at home. That's the information coming through there. Lorelei says, makes sense. Thank you. Great reminder. Lots of old problems to let go of. Amen. So many. And we're getting them one by one, right? Little by little, one by one, we're letting them go as they come to visit. See you later. Sayonara. Thank you. So Deb and Lorelei and Jenny, I know you asked a question up there, so let's come on in. Now, should we take a quick little break? Now that we're here, we can, if you want to. Is someone willing to ask a question? Let's do that fun exercise. So we have a few people here who are practicing, right? Who are practicing their psychic, intuitive abilities. Do we have someone who can ask a question that they know the answer to? If we do, please put your question in the comments and you're going to be the question holder, right? So obviously you're not going to be able to participate. So please let it be someone who wants to ask a question. Oh, and Fran, thank you so much. And we'll sort of exercise that psychic muscle, that kind of intuitive muscle where we're tapping the clairs. Thanks for paying for a reading, everybody. The other big news. 30% of your $10 tonight will go to the Irish Wheelchair Association, and their website is in the description below. And I'm super excited to be helping this association. Our friend Amy Lenehan had put the name up for charity. She had experienced all the good help that they give to people, and so I know that they're an honourable and a charity with good integrity, because I know that this group wouldn't recommend any that aren't. We do all our checks, and there are a lot of charities out there in need. So I'm open to anyone contacting me about any charity that they have or that they love, so please let me know. Email me or put it in the comment section. Here we go. So Jenny. So did someone ask a question? Anybody? So the kind of question you could ask is, for example, you could say, well, you can kind of say, you might know how you relate with a particular person, or there might be a thing that's going on between you and a particular person. And you can say, can someone read the relationship between me and someone? Maybe something like that. So, when we do sort of practicing remote viewing and stuff like that, we say, where are my tennis shoes or something? But we're not practicing remote viewing. We're just practicing tapping into that feeling state. And that feeling state is the one that we tap into when we're that inner state, that inner sort of information highway is what we're tapping into when we're reading the cards. All right, here we go. Anybody brave to ask one? All right. So, Jenny, for my question, Spirit's advice on action steps towards how to be of service in the next few months. In the next few months is very specific, right? So this is where I'm going to say, okay, here is a question for Spirit that we're going to hone it down to the next few months. Now, if we get an answer that doesn't make sense or that needs expanding, we're going to increase it to further. But let's do next few months, right? Which means in the next 2 to 3 months. So is this a card that is this a card that's showing anybody being of service? It's like, no, this is a very quiet card. In fact, this is kind of like a no thought card. It's like, what's the service? The service is to do nothing. The service is to be completely quiet and think nothing. And so this is so interesting. What is this guy doing? I know, I'm so glad you're laughing, Jenny. What is this guy doing? Look at his hand. Look at his hand. It's in a mudra. This is a mudra, is a special sort of, here it is. See his hand? It's this, right? Now, I think Jesus Christ had this mudra. Right, here it is. And so this mudra is like a truth symbol. So did he die for truth? Did these thoughts die for truth? Are these thoughts that are no longer necessary for you to hold? So in the next few months, how are you going to be of service? You're going to be of service to yourself by letting go of these thoughts that no longer serve you. And this, I believe, is a very clear message, because I'm looking at this blue scape behind here, and the mountains and the water. So that's the earth and the water. Not only will you ground this understanding and this very powerful statement of letting go of what no longer serves you in your head, right? So what kind of things no longer serve us in our head? The idea that I don't have enough, or that I'm not enough, or that I'm not good enough, right? The idea that it's going to be some kind of hard work, that I have to put on a show, that I have to be someone that I'm not, right? The idea that it's going to be hard work to be of service, to do what I love. The idea that I'm going to constantly struggle and not know what I'm doing and wear one sock that's like on and the shoe on. And this guy's like run out of bed. He's got his nightdress on. He's like, hang on, all this noise is happening. What the hell? People are banging on pots and pans. What's going on? And then they come at him with sticks. Right? So they're the kind of thoughts. Does that kind of make sense? It feels like the sort of thoughts that you want to put to rest in the next few months, because you're going to be of service to yourself, is to let go of all these limiting thoughts, right? These limiting thoughts are just gone. And they always come back to visit. They always make a second round. Oh yeah, you think you're all good about that. Let's just creep on in. Let's creep on in with, someone handed you a cup of coffee at the coffee, in Starbucks and said something under their breath, and you thought it was about you. But actually, it wasn't about you, had nothing to do with you. But that program of thinking that it was about you, because this has happened to me, that you thinking that it's about you is an old program. I've just projected this rejection, right? So I'm not saying that that's happening to you, but this is the kind of thing that I believe you're going to be letting go of in the next few months. And that's going to be of great service to you. Why? Because once you clear that space of all these thoughts, you are going to be attracting that which you are meant to, which is joy. What are you attracting? That was what I thought. In my mind, I said, what are you going to be attracting? You're going to be attracting abundance. You're going to be attracting joy. Without those thoughts that weigh you down, which is what you're getting rid of. Maybe you've already gotten rid of them, Jenny. I'm just saying, this card came up when we said, how can I be of service? You're going to be of service to yourself so that you can be in ongoing joy. And that tree, that manifestation, it's the tree of manifestation. It will come to you so quickly once all of those ideas have gone. And, as you look forward into the future, if at any point you see, some kind of failure, or you think of, oh, well, that's not going to work, you just redirect your mind, say, that's in the past, that's gone, I'm no longer there. This is what you're doing. You're celebrating. I'm celebrating my success because I see it, I feel it, I smell it, it's here, I sense it. I am not the person that I was when I started on this spiritual course. It's not possible. You cannot be that person. Not only were you different age and different look and you're a little older now, whatever, you are energetically not that person. You are this person, right? Peaches and apples and all this wonderful, beautiful success and harvest. And see, there's her, this is the artist's signature again, right? It looks like a little snake coming up out of a pile. It can also look like a little Christmas tree, but that's Pamela Coleman Smith. See, there's a big P and then a little C and a little S. Pamela Coleman Smith is the artist who illustrated these cards. Oh, all right. I hope that's yes, attracting joy, Jenny. Yes, couldn't figure it out. Trying to be of service to get out of my head. Yes, and actually the two can happen together, Jenny. Right? But you're on a spiritual path. Everybody here in this show, everybody is a spirit in a body on this path. Right? And so, you're shining the light for others. Here is the teacher. This is what you have come here to do. You've come here to climb that mountain yourself, which is what you're doing with that 10 of swords, right? You can't be an example for others unless you've done it yourself, right? That's the truth. Because that's how we gain the wisdom. First, we get the knowledge and then we put it into practice. That's my understanding. And as we put it into practice, we gather our wisdom. And this is you in the wisdom phase. So yes, this is how you are going to be of service. And in the next few months, as you continue to gather the wisdom from these actions that you have been doing, right, and coming into more of your joy, then you're moving forward and it will become easy. How will you know? You'll know because when you start to interact with people, you won't have the same reaction, right? You'll be experiencing this and not this. You'll be going straight to the 10 and not the 5. So the 10 is completion. You'll be like, well, that's all right. I understand that this is going to work out just fine. right? Because you're vibrating with joy. You're vibrating with the outcome already. Stuff happens. It's all right. We always end up here, right? We always end up the other end and everything's always fine, right? So that's what's going to happen for you. You're going to be able to reframe so quickly and so effortlessly. You may already be doing this, Jenny. So when I'm reading, sometimes I don't get a sense of when it's happening. I know we're projecting into the future, but really it's happening now. And because we're talking about it, we're manifesting it now, right? Spirit and body, Marlene. Yeah, you bet. Marlene's next. I'm gonna speed on through. Did somebody have a question? Was somebody going to ask us something that they knew the answer to? But so we can all have a go. Maybe it won't happen today. Maybe we'll end up doing it in the course next week. No trouble. Just a little experiment. Anyone else pulling cards? Let me know, please. Let me know by making a comment. If you pulled a card for somebody, let me know. It's the now transformation. Yeah. Thank you, George. I love this reading. It's the now transformation. Yes. Yes. You are right in the now, letting go of the old and pulling in the new, right? The old is the old program, and that old, like, I'm not good enough, don't understand, shouldn't be doing this, total fake, to I'm in joy. And what brings me joy is doing this work that I'm doing, and I'm just going to keep doing it. Jennifer Anderson says there's literally nothing happening that I know an answer to. That's awesome. Yeah, well, I wonder what other kind of example I can give. What they know the answer to. Like, how about, I was just going to say, we know the answer to the election. What about it has to be something that's personal and not public. So it has to be something that we don't know about, right? We don't know about. Marlene. Here we go, Marlene. Marlene, did you have a question? Did you write a specific answer? I think a specific question. I think you did. And Anna, you're after Marlene. I'm just going up. So, hey, I want to know where I'm at in my tarot reading skills. Is that your question, really? Marlene, let me know. You just donated. But let me know your question. Oh, anything from spirit. Wonderful. All right. Deb had this card earlier, and it was clearly in conjunction with her having an open heart and her overflowing. And the same is here for you. Spirit is offering you this cup of connection, and you in the work that you're doing with yourself, in the sort of spiritual work that you're doing with yourself, in coming into yourself, in understanding some of these spiritual laws, the law of attraction, the law of manifestation. This, where the lake used to be. So if what you're going to learn is that when you throw a coin or a stone into the lake and you get those ripples, that's you. So when you're doing your work and your spiritual work, you're going to notice the ripples that happen with the way that when you start doing things differently, you're understanding the way it's going to go into your family and those around you, and how your community, your initial community is going to change as you start to bring these understandings that you're learning through the tarot, through your own work, through the meditation, that you're doing, or, So what I'm getting is that the more work that you do for yourself, you're going to notice the spreading out. And that's the blessings of the divine and the connection with the divine. And these that's so interesting. So, Deb, I didn't think of this before, but I'm thinking about it now, and I do believe that it's related to you too. These channels, your Nadi channels. So you're doing work now, Marlene. And what's happening is that your spiritual channels are being cleared and opened. So allow the work to happen. Know that it is happening. Know that your spirit guides are connecting with you to make it happen. And that, you know, the lotuses on the lily pond, well, the promise, you know, as the lotus, you know, the very famous mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is the jewel in the heart of the lotus. I mean, I think it's been interpreted many, many times, but my understanding is that it vibrates to the heart of all being. And, you know, there are people who are chanting this mantra all day, all night in the Tibetan lineages. And I don't really know that much about it, so I can't talk about it that much, but I just wanted to say that's my understanding, and that's what I'm reminded of when I see this lake with these lotuses, and that there is more spiritual understanding and knowledge and putting into practice that's coming for you. It's a beautiful card, really beautiful, and a lot of serenity and calm. Can you see how the water is very still? It looks to be a massive lake. So the idea that as you're tapping into that sense of, oh my Lord, there is so much love here. And the more love that you tap into, the more love becomes obvious to you and is shown to you. So that sense of limitlessness comes into your space of understanding. Oh, wow, there's a limitless supply of love here that I can tap into. I mean, that's just beautiful. I want to be tapping into this, right? Tapping into that limitless supply of love that the divine, it's tapping into our own source energy. That's what you're doing. Marlene says, I'm constantly working on myself and mainly my mind. Well, that's the answer. That's what the Tibetans say, that and that's what the Hindu, so these are the religions that, the Eastern religions, the Eastern influence in the sort of modern day spirituality. The understanding is that what you're doing is you're gaining control over your mind, or at least allowing the mind to settle so that the water isn't so wavy all the time with thoughts and, you know, I have to do this and reactions and emotions. And so once we're stilling the pond and we're connecting with source, we're allowing divine energy to come through. And that's what helps the mind get quieter eventually. That's the aim of meditation. The aim of meditation is to quiet the mind. The aim of meditation is to find a pathway direct to connecting with the divine so that we are not constantly talking. And the more that connection happens, the quieter everything else gets, right? That's the aim. And we're just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to keep sitting in silence until the pots stop banging, until all that noise stops that the mind creates, right? Because the mind creates so much noise and it creates suffering. It creates suffering for us. It really does. It's in the Dhammapada. I'm going to pull it out wherever it's gone. I'm going to find it. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to find it because it's so relevant. Well, it's disappeared. The Dhammapada says, you know, control, you know, with our thoughts, we create the world, right? And if we believe that we're creating the drama and the split out there, then we need to come back inside and get quiet. Marlene, I hope that feels complete. It really feels complete on my end in terms of bringing through that message of connection and meditation and stillness and coming back into yourself, because you're going to get a lot. You're going to gain a lot from this spiritual inquiry that you have. And I would even say over the next sort of 5 months, I would stay open to, you know, why I asked how long. So I picked a card for timing. Right. So whenever I ask a question of the tarot, I make it very specific. And I sent out my newsletter like half an hour before the show started because I was late with it. But in the tarot Q&A, someone asked me, and I started talking about this earlier, but someone asked me, how do you get a clear question? Because she's had some experience in asking questions and doing readings. And if you don't have a clear question, you're not going to get a clear answer. And you have to be you have to kind of touch a card with specificity. And so when you're touching with the specificity of this is a general reading, then you stay general. But because I asked, well, how long is this period going to take? I got the 5 of Cups, right? Now, I'm not reading the picture. What I'm doing is I'm saying, oh, it's cups. So, wands is very quick energy. It's like minutes, hours, days. If I picked up a sword, that would have been sort of days to weeks. If I picked up a cup, it's going to be weeks to months, right? And then when I pick up a coin, it's going to be months to years. And then the major arcana are years, which is why we said when we were reading Deb's card, we said, okay, this is an influence that's been happening over many years. And then she validated that by saying, well, I was told 3 years ago exactly the same thing. And it's been 3 years, right, of a lot of stuff happening that relates to the card and what we said about it. So the next 5 months, right, that's what you're going to be expecting as your spiritual work continues. And if you can get on the meditation class tomorrow, Marlene, it's €150, 10 sessions with with a master in meditation. I would do it if you can afford to put that money away. I know you have a young family, and you make that decision. We all make these decisions on what we can, how much we can spend and put toward our own part, and then how much we have responsibilities. If you have physical 3-dimensional responsibilities, you're looking after children, it's a really big deal. $150 is a lot of money. And then sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, man, I'm going to do it. I'm jumping in with all my feet and my hands and my noses. Anna, I've pulled your card before asking the question, and you know what the answer is. I don't remember what the question was, but this is the answer. The Magician. I'm now going to go back to your question. You know the Magician, Anna. Oh, my Lord. I just paid for a reading tonight. There has been a shift in something I was working on. What does Spirit want me to know on that? Absolutely. The shift is real. So there's absolutely no need to question what has happened. And of course you're not. I don't sense that you're asking a question around whether something has shifted or not. There has been a massive shift. Why? Because you manifested it. Why? Because the Magician is here. Why? Because not only have we been talking about manifestation, but you understand how you created whatever it was that shifted. And in that understanding, you put whatever tools were into place and you made it happen. What you did through your conscious inquiry has created the shift. Now, remember the Strength card with the Holy Lemniscate, the infinity symbol above the woman's head? This is the same thing here. But not only that, he's got the snake around his belly, the Urubus, which is the snake eating its own tail. So not only are you learning about cycles in life, and you're coming into a whole new cycle. I feel you're coming into the beginning, like the number 1 again. I'm not sure if you've just had a birthday, but this birthday is taking you into like one of the beginning years. And if we were to do your numerology, which I love doing and which I can highly recommend, you have this book with my coffee cup stains. But the numerology, this does numerology and tarot really well, but it also just does numerology really well. So if you weren't interested in the tarot, but you really wanted a good numerology book that just succinctly got every number accurately described, and you feel like they're talking about you when you're looking at the numbers in your name, or the numbers of your life path, or the numbers in your destiny sort of path. There are different ways to calculate that. This book is amazing. And it's still available. It's still in print, which is awesome. So why do I say that? I say that because this is a number 1, right? If you've just had a birthday, or whenever your birthday was, whatever year this is like a new beginning year for you, right? And the other thing is that there's, a sense of balancing the masculine and the feminine. Why do I feel that? I saw the sword, and the sword was coming into kind of his groin area. And then there was that long horizontal, which is what feminine energy feels like. It feels very horizontal, very spread out, right? And so when you look at the new administration of the sort of the White House, there's going to be a male, right, who's going to be standing, upright, and then there's going to be a female behind him who's going to be spreading out, and her reach is far and wide. Why? Because she's a woman of color, because she's a woman, and being the first vice president, the first female vice president, is like amazing. And then she's African American. I actually really don't know what her race is, but she's a woman of color in a position of power. Oh my Lord. So her reach is far and wide, because she's going to reach a whole group of people that weren't reachable before because of the way that the, structure was in there. So I keep getting that there's, something happening between the balance of the masculine and the feminine in you. And this balance is, look at all these roses and these tulips. So the tulips are purity, and the roses are passion and love. And so they're also balancing. Can you keep your passion in the purity? Can you keep your divine passion? And the divine passion is not a hot passion. It's not like something that melts you or destroys. It's an enlivening passion. It's an enlivening light. So this to me is a very divine card. And your question was, let's just work on that. What does Spirit want me to know on that? Spirit wants you to know that you created it. You created the breakthrough. You created the inverted commas problem, as we know we do. This is a lesson that I learned from Terry Merlis, and I'm sure you might remember one of the last workshops she gave that I had the honor of attending. The last few minutes, I got lost on the Long Island Road Railway. I was rushing to get there. I just knew I had to get there, and I got there, and I was an hour late, and she opened the door, and it was just so wonderful to see her. We sat down, and she had there were people in the library. My friend Terry Merlis was doing a workshop in a library, and everybody was handed out these little slips of paper, and it was a quote out of Derek O'Neill's Consciousness book. He has a Get a Grip series of books that are, that are kind of like 30 or 40 pages thick. And in this quote, it's called Get a Grip book series on his website, dereko'neil.com. And in this book, there was a quote about, I created that, well done, and now I can move forward. So the idea of understanding that you had not only created the solution, but also the problem before that, gives you the strength and it gives you a visceral experience of understanding your manifestation abilities. And that's what this recent experience and that's the fruit of this recent experience. That's where the fruit lies for you, in that you now understand how you create, how you manifest and demanifest things. And it's a very powerful thing to understand through your experience. This is true wisdom. Now you can do it again and again and again for all the other things that you manifest and that you want to demanifest. But not only that, you can help others do it. So this is really super powerful, Anna. Such a great card. You'll be 60 next June, which is 2021, right? So you're 59. So when we do the numerology, we take your date of birth and we add the years up. So I want you to do something for me now. I want you to take the day you were born, whatever number that is, and the month you were born. So my date of birth is, you're a 5? You're a 5. So that's your life path number. So what I want you to do, so hold on, you're going to take, let's say you were born the 10th of June. So that's 6, 10, and then you have to put 2020, not your date of birth, right? You're going to put the month you were born, the day you were born in that month, and then 2020, and add up all those numbers. Is that what you did? June 18. So 18, 6, and your 2020. So we're going to add up. 1 and 8 is 9, plus 6 is 15, plus, so what's that, 15, plus 2 is 17, plus 2 is 19. What did we say? 19. is 1 plus 9 is what? What's 1 plus 9? 1 plus 9 is 10. You in this year, you entered this birthday this year in June, you entered a 10, which is 1. So can you make this up? You can't make it up. This is validation for the information coming through the magician card, right? Here's a number 1. You've entered a new decade and you've entered a new cycle of 1 to 9 years with this birthday in this year. So it's not about turning 60. Your 59th year has put you into a whole new cycle. Got it? It is awesome. So this is almost like the card that's going to color your next 9 years. Now that you've understood this really powerful understanding, this powerful spiritual wisdom, you're going to keep applying it because it's juicy, right? And as you keep applying it, you gain more and more knowledge, and you're going to turn that sort of hot passion that can burn into the kind of hot passion that doesn't burn, the divine passion. Lots of love to you, Anna. Thank you so much for asking a question. Thank you so much for donating $10. Woo! Anna and Fran. Fran, I hope you're still here. Fran, I don't know if you have a question or whether you wanted just a reading, a general. Can you believe that, Anna? I'm going to send you the number 1 out of this book, right? Just to show you of all those things that we said about the number 1. And remember, he's holding up that wand, that number 1 wand, which is connecting the top, above and below, and that the holy lemniscate, understanding above and below, understand. So for you, all of these opposites are coming into that unity, right? So you're going from the polarized into the unity, the duality into the unity. Fran, this is for you. Woo-hoo! We're making good time today. Anybody have a question? So Marlene was saying crazy. I just pulled that card on myself like a minute ago. Was that the first card we had for you, Marlene? Was that the Ace of Cups? Well done. I just saw that. I pulled it out because it had a small stain on it. It's so funny. When you're pulling out cards, it'll be the strangest thing. Oh, and there's Pamela Coleman Smith's signature again, right? The big P, the C, and the S. I'm curious about it now. I hadn't noticed it and wasn't even noticing it before, but since seeing it in your card, Deb, and then seeing it in every card after that, she literally illustrated every single card with her signature, and so she should have. I mean, she has her drawings, her rendition of what each card means, obviously with the help of Arthur E. Waite. I mean, these cards have defined tarot in the last 120 years, basically. It's extraordinary. And people copy her images. They trace her images. It blew your mind. Awesome. So Fran wants a general reading. All right, Fran. Woo-hoo. Keep thinking of that song. Fran, what's on your mind? So I have wind and thoughts. And so for me, this is a card where, we're not quite sure where to go. Hold on. Where's the ground? Are you in an in-between stage somewhere? Because this is what I'm getting from this card. You're in between. You're kind of it's almost like you can't quite make something solid right now. And what are we going to say about that? I don't know if this is money related, but it's certainly, this to me is a money and a spiritual card. You've got the Tree of Life, right? Here is the Tree of Life. And there's only 5 coins, but in the Tree of Life, there are 10. But this signifies the Tree of Life and also signifies spirituality, which I talk about a lot in this card. And here you have these people who are not connecting to that because they're outside the church. But this is a card to remember to connect to that, because this is really, really important. So what's going to help you, right? What's going to help you to come out of this sense of not quite knowing where you're standing? And I don't even know if you're connecting to that. Let's see what this is about. So when I'm asking a question and I get like an answer or a card I'm not clear about, I either close my eyes and and feel the card and look to see what I'm given through my inner senses, or I spend time looking at the card. But I don't want to spend time because we're here live, so I don't want to go silent for minutes. Oh, Deb says she has that book and loves it. Yeah, it's a great book. Such a good book. That's this one, the Numerology and the Divine Triangle. There's a lot of geometry in this one too. And you really don't need much more than that. So I'm going to feel into Fran's card. This is this one, right? The Page of Swords. So, okay, I got two things. One thing overlapping another thing. I think there's some concern around one of the grandchildren. I'm not sure. So that's what I'm feeling, something around one grandchild. It might be a male grandchild. I'm not sure. So there's a sense that there was like some hyperactivity or some activity around this child. Or, it's either and or, that sense of it might be that I'm getting messages for both you and the little child, right? So the other message I got was, what I see is a child running, or the energy running in a circle, like on a hamster wheel. Now, does it feel like you are running on a hamster wheel? Do you feel like you're doing stuff and not seeing much results? So that's one question I have for you. And if you were in front of me, I would say, hey, this is what Spirit showed me. How can you relate to that? And we don't always necessarily have the instant sort of, question answer with the comments. But if you can comment, Fran, that would be great. Can you relate to feeling like you're on a hamster wheel? And if you can't, that's okay. I'm receiving the messages. I could be interpreting it wrong. It's all right. I'm not 100% right. I hope to be like as best, like the best of the best is 80%, somewhere between 60 and 80%. If you're really practicing that connection with Spirit and you're really, really practicing looking at the cards, right? Wow, this is such a hot card. We're going to talk about the Justice card. It's interesting that she comes up. The Justice card and the Wheel of Life, right? Because last week we spoke about the Wheel of Fortune and the Justice card came up. So she wants us to spend time with her tonight, and I will definitely make sure we do. But before we go, Fran, I hope you're listening. This card is... So I'm going to take it one way. I'm going to, because I haven't heard from you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run with the idea of this is one of the kids. So let's have a look at one of the kids, right? You feel that way. You definitely feel that way. All right. So let me have a look here. All right. All is well, Fran. All is well. Why do I say that? Because when I look at you and the so I did both things. I looked at, well, was this related to one of the children, one of the grandchildren? What I got is that, I got the 8 of Cups and the 5 of Wands. And it's like, you just give it some space. So you don't need to kind of be involved there, or you don't need to give yourself any energy there. And that might even say, well, there's nothing there. You don't need to worry about it because George is talking sort of off the top of her head. Forget it. But what we've got, the hamster wheel, and if we're running with you in the hamster wheel, then what we've got are 3 incredible cards. Big ones, not just little ones. You got the Wheel of Fortune, the High Priestess, and the Ace of Cups. And I feel the Ace of Cups is the gift that's coming to you, because sometimes when we're on a plateau where we feel like what we're doing isn't really changing, stuff is happening without us really knowing. So if you're the kind of person that just does things out of routine, and say, for example, some of your spiritual work, because why do I say spiritual work? I mean, I'm always talking about things spiritually because the cards are so spiritual, but the High Priestess is here and she's like the ultimate spiritual, she's the divine mother. She's bringing through all this sacred knowledge through the Torah. Look, she's holding the Torah in her hand. And these are the B and the J are the entrance into the sacred libraries of knowledge. And this is the woman who lets you in. So you are the high priestess, and you are experiencing, you're experiencing a shift, but it's a very slow. So what's happening is you're in between shifts. Does that make sense? So you've had a shift, and now you're running like this for a little while, and you're going to experience the next one. Why? Because the Wheel of Fortune is here. And out of all these characters, and we talked about them last week, didn't we? We said that, was this, so we have the, hang on, I'm going to pull out my deck. Where is the information? Here it is. Bear with me while I just get out the Wheel of Fortune again. I think sometimes the dog man, right? The one that sits in the gates of hell, the gates in the afterlife, the one that can take us into. So the snake takes us in, right, into our desires. And this one is kind of at the gates, in between the elevation and the elevation and the de-elevation, or the going down, right? So this is the one that stands in between. What are you going to do? How are you going to act? And I feel that this is the influence that's happening with you right now, right? How am I going to act? How am I going to react? How am I going to think? How can I best think so that I'm moving myself up into a place of elevated thinking? How am I chunking up my ideas so that I'm always looking at life from that bird's eye view, and I'm not kind of getting stuck down in the ground with all of the muck and all of the sort of the difficulty of it? How do I lift my spirit, right? So that I am, and we've had this could be the card of the evening. We've had the Ace of Cups at least 3 times now, right? How can I be an inspiration to myself and others? How can you do that, right? And you're going to be. It's not even like, so you're moving from this via the Justice card, which is we reap what we sow. If we were to have a mantra for the Justice card, it would be reap what you sow. Why? Because justice is what happens when we're balancing things out. Lady Justice is the truth bearer. Lady Justice is the one that says, oh, these are the seeds that you have sown, therefore this is what you're going to reap. If this is a court case, then this is the crime you've committed, and this is the consequences that you're going to reap. Oh, this is the good service that you've given, and these are the fruits and rewards that you're going to reap. Now, you might decide to pass those forward onto somebody else. It doesn't matter. This is just the channel through which we pass when we are having that exchange. So justice is that doorway that flips you open into understanding. I just did that act, and this is the consequence of that act. This is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm getting back. In some ways, there's also the cycles and the infinity symbol in this. So how we break out of those cycles, how are you going to get you out of feeling like you're on the hamster wheel, right? You're going to do that by understanding the laws of spirituality, by understanding that we create our world with our thoughts. That's the first one, right? And then you're going to tap into your deep intuitive understanding and knowing, and you're going to use your knowledge and understanding of the Tibetan Wheel of Life, right? Where do you want to end up here on a daily basis? So this Tibetan wheel, as I understand it, can be used for lifetimes or on a daily basis. Am I gonna do something that that has me? Oh, these guys are going down. So you can see where I'm confused. So these guys are going down because of their desires, right? And their ignorance and greed. And these ones are going up because they're spending time in meditation. They're contemplating their actions and their thoughts, etc. And they're elevating themselves. And they're ending up in one of these sections outside. So what are you going to do? What thoughts are you going to nurture? Because you have the choice now, right? You have the choice to nurture specific thoughts. And that's what's going to be your grounding. That's how you're going to find your grounding. See how she's surrounded by cement, Fran? That's going to be, I feel like we could talk for this for a little while. And it might even be like, How about we put in for someone to win a 30-minute reading? And Fran, who knows, it might be you. I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 15. 1 and 15. All right, 1 and 15, and we're going to pull it out. Because, Fran, I feel like we could talk a little bit longer. There's a lot in that because you got 2 major arcana and an ace of cups, plus the justice card. You've got 3 major arcana. What's going on for you now is going to be happening for a little while, and you've been in this energy where things have been shifting, and then now you've had a lull. It's going to shift again, right? Linda Drost is 12, MBM 5. Hi, Mary. How are you? Deborah Ward 8. Marlene says it was a perfect card. Yes. Need to trust my intuition more. That's what the High Priestess is saying. That's for sure. That's for sure. Right? The High Priestess is saying, let's just pull her back out again. I was going to call him Horus, but Horus is not the dog man. Horus is the hawk man. I'm thinking of the symbol in the Wheel of Fortune. Hold on. So the High Priestess is saying that you are going to go in. I presume you're doing the meditation course. So in this meditation course, you're going to go way, way, way in. And that's going to be your connection to the ace. As we were talking about that for Marlene, remember. You're feeling the shift for sure. It's definitely happening. It's definitely happening because you wouldn't get those 3 major arcana if it wasn't going to be, it is life-changing. And so therefore it's happening over a slow period of time. The slowest cards when you're looking at timing are the major arcana. And we have to be patient with ourselves. It's not always going to feel light and bright. Sometimes it's going to feel like we're dragging our feet through the mud or that we're not getting anywhere. And that was that first message that came through. It might feel like you're not getting anywhere, but actually change is happening on a very deep level. So hold tight with some of these. And what I said about the Ace of Cups earlier for Marlene also is very specific for you because of the Nadi channels. There's a lot of clearing happening in the Nadi channels for all of us, really. As we're sitting, resting, meditating, as we're aligning our chakras, our Nadi channels are also lining up. And sometimes physical things happen when we line up our bodies like that, our internal energy systems like that. Rebecca, hi. So between 1 and 15, the number that I had at the top of my head was 12. Linda Drost. Woo! Linda, you got a half-hour reading. Woo! Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to find the justice card again. We've got 10 minutes. Let's talk about justice. Has justice been served today in the American elections? Will justice be served? Here we go. Will the courts be involved in recounting votes? What is the latest newsreel saying? And it's it's so interesting when we a very high spiritual teaching, as I understand it, is that we can be addicted, this desire, specifically around desire, right, in the inner circle. So inside, in the middle circle of this Tibetan wheel are the 3 things: desire, greed, and ignorance, or ego. Sometimes, delusion. Sometimes they're sort of, the words change depending on where you read about it. But one is the mind, following the mind. The other one's desires, constantly wanting stuff. But when you get rid of one desire, another one comes up. So if you're only sort of paying attention to your senses and wanting to fulfill your sense need, then you will attach yourself to one thing. And then if you get rid of that, then you're going to attach yourself to another thing. And I see this in myself, right? I'll become obsessed with wanting to do something. And then once I've either done it or I can't do it, or, then I'm like, that quietly goes away and then something else comes up and I'm, quietly obsessed about that, sometimes loudly. But it's a truth that you replace one thing with the other. Marlene says, when I got my first tarot cards, my first question was it a good choice to get these cards? And the Justice card popped out. Okay, that's great. So why would the Justice card pop out and say yes? Because you know that the answer is yes. So this is a card that talks to me about karma. And if we want to talk about karma, let's just define it for a little bit. So that karma is a sense of rebalancing. So where we've created a negative output, or if we've done an act, there's a mirroring that happens. If we've done an act that's been, well, let's say we've done one act and we've put that out there, then the opposite of that act has to come back into balance. Does that make sense? And so if you've done good for others, you're going to have, that good come back to you. If you've done bad to others, you've had that bad will come back to you. That's that sense of rebalancing. So if you have a relationship with someone and you did something to them, then that, whether it happens this lifetime or another lifetime, that energy will come back to you. And my understanding is that it comes back from them at some point. And again, I'm not an expert. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but I know a little bit about what I'm talking about through my own experience. So we have to refer to the high spiritual teachers and teachings for this. But this is what justice is. And you see, she's not sitting at a table. She's not a judge, right? She's not a judge. So she's not holding office over anybody. What she's doing is she's just saying this is the truth, because she's holding the sword of truth, right? And she's holding the intellect. So she's also holding a very high intellect. Oh, the children have just come in, so I'm going to close the door so that we have a little bit of privacy. Hold on. Thank you. I can hear you all saying, we want to see the kids. But I really want to get this out. So she holds the energy of, it's almost like judgment. It's also like there is judgment, but only because that judgment was created through the actions that you put, through the seeds that you planted. And therefore, because you planted those seeds, those plants had to grow. And she's just the one that says, well, here are your plants. These are the ones that you planted. And so she's not in judgment of you. She's just saying, well, this is what you created. She's just the one that says you created this, and this is what you're getting. Does that make sense? And so what we've got here is that we've got the her shawl of grit that's green, right? And of course, this veil that we've seen before with the high priestess sitting up there. So she does hold a lot of knowledge and understanding. In fact, she connects to the high priestess in this way because she's sitting between two columns, right? The yes and the no, the what's going to happen. Well, this can happen or this can happen. And there's a balance. There's a weighing of the balances. Well, how much of the action did you do for the reaction to be this? So there's a deliverance here, right? So she's also delivering, which is why there's a scale. So the scale, so she's the sign of Libra, astrological sign of Libra. So all of those of us who are Librans can relate to this card, Lady Justice. She's showing you a white foot, right? Her foot is white, which means that she's just, right? So she's connecting to spirit. We can't see her undergarment, but we have to assume it's white because her shoe is white. So the red indicates clearly a lot of passion, right? And there's a very dull red that's behind too. And in her crown lies a square jewel. And in her shawl over her heart, so we've got that her head is connecting to her heart. And there's a circle inside the square. So these geometrical symbols, because there's a square up there and a square here, she's balancing head and heart. So this isn't the typical kind of, now when this card turns up in a reading, somebody may have trouble with the law, or they may be going to court, or there may be some judgment that's coming up about them. But if you've got this coming up for relationships, then it has a lot more to do with karma, right? And if you have, it's also, there's also a lot of structure around her. So you see the stage that she's on is made of concrete. These two columns are made of concrete. They're not the same columns as the high priestess. Her columns are, an entrance into a temple. Here, nobody's allowed past this door. Only the judge, this particular person is allowed to know what's behind the veil. And in fact, she holds some of that information without telling you, right? So we don't know why, we don't know how, it all works. We just know that it's how it works. I know this is all very, so look at the green that's here. That signifies healing. So see how the green sits on top of the red and dampens down the energy of it. The kids are hungry. I hope you can hear them. There's a lot of joy happening outside. I'm going to pull out the number 11 because I want to read what the numerology card has for us. Hello. I'm not done yet. Come back in a few minutes. I know. Won't be long. We're all going to go out. The children went out to the playground, and it's a little dark now because of daylight savings, but it's still, they have such a good time. There's a huge big sand pit that they go into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here it is, 7, 11. Here it is. 11 is a master number. Can I just tell you? It is a master number. Teaching, education, and guidance come under the key 11. And those who seek balance. Oh, I did forget to mention balance. There's a weighing of the balances. We're never, ever going to be completely equal because energy is never still. Energy is constantly moving. We're going to come up into balance and then we're going to go up a little, or we're going to go down a little, right? We're constantly going to be teetering in balance. So this idea of like, I'm balancing myself out, there's no like final balance point, that we're constantly shifting. There's constant movement. But what we want to do is we want to achieve that connection. And I was looking for the high priestess. We want to achieve connection with the high priestess and the divine mother and the divine father, or basically God connection, which branches off into the mother and the father, the 0 point, right? We want to connect with that point so that when all of that teetering on the balance is happening, as happens in the 3D, because they're subject to the 3-dimensional laws of karma and the law of cause and effect, right? Which is what this card is all about. Then, we're looking to achieve balance. That's what I was talking about before, basically. But you never come into just like this, and we never travel just like that. The only thing that's like that is God consciousness, or that which is behind all of that. So the scales represent balance. There are 7 straight lines of equal length in the scales. Now I'm learning something new. There are, true. So if you look at the there's 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. There are 3 there. I wonder where the other line is. Maybe in the middle. 7 original planets. So this is making inference to the astrology. Mercury, Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, and Saturn. So the outstanding lesson of Key 11 is to weigh the meaning of present conditions and achieve balance by overcoming the errors of the past. Use the sword of discrimination and to eliminate mistaken thoughts. We've talked a lot about that today. Libra rules here, which we said, and shows us that we can communicate only through the 7th house of cooperation and through the principle of love. Libra rules the kidneys, the organs of elimination that maintain the chemical balance of the body. Through elimination of the poisonous toxins in our lives, we ensure a balanced life. And Fran, can I just say that is what you're doing with the Wheel of Fortune. That Wheel of Fortune with the dog man at the bottom and the snake and the thing, you're actually going to be getting rid of all those toxins. So there's something that you're doing on a physical level as well, because I just got a hit there from what we were talking about. In the justice card, because remember the justice card came up for you. So what we just spoke about there, about getting rid of the toxins in your life, I think is actually relevant to you. Through elimination of the poisonous toxins in our lives, we ensure a balanced life. So poisonous toxins being physical ones, right, which is kind of what's coming through for you. So check your environment, check the 5G, check all of that stuff in the environment, and get your grounding and your EMF protectors. But also check your water. I know you've probably got the Kangen water, which is looking at really good, but just check all of those physical parameters. And then also check the psychological, obviously the spiritual, because you do that anyway through your practice, but you're also going to look through the psychology, your psychological mindscape, right? So, wow, full of information, such a very still card, and yet so much happening in it. Thank you very much, everybody, for staying and watching and for contributing. Your money goes to good. It really does. We donated $64.30 last couple of months, and that makes a huge difference to the charities that we choose to give to. Thank you for coming on tonight, for asking a question, for joining in on the fun, and maybe one day we'll be able to have a show that's geared to everybody putting in their intuitive effort and answering these questions together. Maybe we could make a special night of it one night where we're all doing that. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, wonderful evening, wonderful weekend. Enjoy the good feelings that are floating around in New York City if you're in New York. And if you're somewhere where there isn't good feeling, we're sending it out to you now. Bye. Good night.